April 1961, the American CIA organized an attack on Cuba. Their plan was to land in a certain part of the island and set up base for war against Cuba. They expected that other Cubans would rise up and join the rebellion. The invasion force landed at a place called the Bay of Pigs. This went downhill. The Americans had underestimated the strength of the Cuban armed forces. The CIA had misunderstood how popular Castro was. Go. Cuba easily won the beef.
Oh my God, beef.
In 1962, the Americans placed a number of nuclear missiles in Turkey. Shortly afterwards, Khrushchev decided to place missiles on Cuba.
The Soviets tried to remove the missiles secretly from the Caribbean. A U-2 spy plane flew over Cuba on 14th of October, took photographs of the missile on site. On 16th of October 1962, President Kennedy was shown the photographs proving that the Soviet missiles were on Cuba. The missiles had only recently approved and would not yet have been in working order. The Americans spent 6 days secretly discussing and planning how to respond. They did not consult with their allies at this stage. Even the government of Britain, the closest ally, was not told about the missiles. On October the 21st, Kennedy made an announcement to American people. Hey guys. Robert Kennedy, the brother of the president, visited Soviet Ambassador Anatoly Dobrynin. He was the key to the solution of the crisis. He said if the Soviets didn't promise to remove the missiles, the next day the Americans would use force to destroy the missiles. Later, an offer to the Russians was made. There could be no official deal, but if the Cuban missiles were removed, the missiles in Turkey would follow soon after. The next day, Dobrynin reported back to Robert Kennedy and announced that the Russians would withdraw their missiles from Cuba. Crisis was over.
Oh my God.
The end of the crisis was seen as a victory for Kennedy and a defeat for Khrushchev. The European allies of the USA were shocked at how little they were consulted during the emergency. On the communist side, the Chinese were not impressed by the Soviet performance. The most important long-term result of the crisis was that both sides realized that the great dangers of direct conflict between the USSR and the USA. Both Soviet and American leaders were shocked at how close they had come to nuclear war.
JFK, the U.S. president, along with his brother, picked up on the scent of the Cuban missiles through thick and through thin, saw it coming, and tried to stop it. Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara disapproved of the plan. That was like the Sahara. It was hot and dry and made not much sense, but McNamara's plan was to play defense. Khrushchev and Dobrynin, the two Soviets, a leader and ambassador, made some agreements that helped the war and move the ships. Fidel Castro, the Prime Minister of Cuba, out on the water where he liked to scuba, a blockade was formed to stop the Soviets. It worked, and that led to negotiations. Che Guevara helped bring the missiles to Cuba, but his plan failed and the missiles never went boom. An ultimatum was set against the Cubans to not leave all of Cuba in ruins. They had to take apart the missiles or nuclear war was all but inevitable. Both of Kennedy's responses were pacifistic about his ideas. He was firm as a brick, so he proposed a blockade and quarantine, and it showed for all to see that the crisis did not end in war, but instead had been resolved kindly.
We wanted it to be a nice way for you, a good way for you to remember it. And we didn't want it to be boring for you, not even for us either. Like what? And that's why, and we're telling you this is because it's right here
We're ready to do some evidence.
Part 7 of Denia doesn't know how to freaking read things.
And that was good.
And result of the crisis was the
Oh no, baby, what is you doing?
realize the great
Girl,
dangers
you is not cute. Just stop.
between the except the whole thing. Did you get me?